Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. Jeff Triesenberg, Planning Director for the town of Garner. As David mentioned, the acreage for the property is about 33.7 acres total. The subdivision plan includes 7 commercial lots and 1 residential. The use will be a commercial business park for the majority of the site. In reference to lot sizes, there's a minimum 6,000 square foot lot size requirement in the service business district. And then in the R9, you typically would have a 9,000 square foot minimum, but it can be as small as 6,000 square feet depending on the type of subdivision approval they would seek out. Setbacks of note, where the commercial zoning does abut residential uses, there will be a 25-foot setback. That's one of those where if it's adjacent to other commercial or other industrial, they can actually have a 0 setback, but wherever there's potentially more of a conflict between that commercial and residential, the 25-foot setback is enforced. Here is the site plan. We have West Garner Road over here to the left side of the screen. You'll see here a cul-de-sac tentatively entitled Recycling Lane. The applicant did secure a variance for the length of the cul-de-sac due to the presence of the noose riparian buffers and some wetlands in the area. That was obtained from the Board of Adjustment a few months ago. There are 2 existing businesses on lots 1 and 2 that will continue. This would add lots 3 through 7, and then this residential portion in the back. Initially, they were showing 5 lots along the extension of Quiet Refuge Lane, but at this point, we're just asking them to go ahead and preserve that as 1 lot. That way, when there is a proposal in the future to develop the subdivision, that will come in as a separate request. And just to point out also, there is no connection here. Grassy Rio Lane, that's right. There is no direct connection between the Weston Ridge subdivision and the proposed business park. However, there could be, and probably will be, at least emergency access so that emergency vehicles would have a second way into the business park if needed. In terms of open space, the residential tract will require a minimum of 10%, and that will be required upon further major subdivision, as I noted previously. In terms of landscaping and buffer requirements, that would be effective now. The tree cover, perimeter buffers, and street buffers will all be looked at during subsequent plans for each parcel. The street trees are what will be provided now. A street lighting plan will be required to be approved prior to construction drawing, and the on-site lighting for each of the individual parcels will be reviewed with each subsequent plan. For the subdivision, the inspections department together with the fire department has reviewed and given their preliminary approval. There is no FEMA designated floodplain on this site. There is a creek that comes down to the east of the Cloverdale subdivision and crosses Meadowbrook Drive, but that floodplain designation ends right at about the intersection there of Weston and Meadowbrook. But you can see the various blue lines coming across. This is the one here where we had the Neuse River designation and the wetlands, and then this stream here to the east is what will divide the commercial from the residential. For stormwater management, Thompson Business Park is an industrial park with a residential component not located within the watershed protection area. This site is subject to water quality requirements for nitrogen and water quantity for the 1, 10, and 25-year storms. At this time, the development plan does propose a stormwater control measure and an underground detention system. These devices will provide treatment for the nitrogen and any water quantity requirements at this site. In terms of water and sewer, available in several places, we have a sewer line in Garner Road itself. There's an 8-inch draw here through the property to the north that goes back to Cloverdale. There's also a run back here along that eastern stream. Water, again, is on the east side of Garner Road, so literally right at their front door, as well as stubs on both Grassy Rio Lane and Quiet Refuge. In terms of roads and sidewalk, the project will widen West Garner Road to include some additional pavement, curb, gutter, sidewalk, and a bus stop for the new Route 20 that's called for in this vicinity. Quiet Refuge Lane will be extended eastward with curb, gutter, and sidewalk on both sides. And then again, as I noted previously, emergency access only from Grassy Rio Lane. When we looked at conformity with the various plans, the statements that we drafted were that the 2018 Garner Forward Transportation Plan recommends Garner Road as a 2-lane divided facility and also recommends 2-lane local street connectivity to the east in this area. The bicycle and pedestrian portions of the plan call for a proposed greenway along the Neuse River buffer and stream crossing the eastern portion of the site. A greenway easement will be incorporated prior to town council approval, which it has, with future construction required with the subsequent major residential subdivision. Finally, the transit portion of the plan identifies a transit loop with bus stops along West Garner Road, with the proposed widening of Garner Road, the extension of Quiet Refuge Way, the provision of the bus stop on Garner Road, and the provision of a public greenway easement across the eastern portion of the site. The plans may now be considered consistent with the 2018 Garner Forward Transportation Plan. A review of the Parks, Rec, Open Space, and Greenways Master Plan revealed no additional recommendations in the project area. Therefore, this project as proposed may be considered with that plan. And finally, after sufficient review and plan revisions, staff does find that this project is now proposed conforms to the regulations of the UDO, so long as the following project-specific conditions are met. And we have 4. Prior to approval by the town council, which we can strike that one, so there'll actually only be 3. A public greenway easement has been provided. Prior to receipt of the approved plans, the engineering department inspection fees must be paid to the town. Prior to construction drawing approval, a street lighting plan shall be approved by the TRC. And prior to issuance of the first building permit, all applicable water and sewer fees must be paid to City of Raleigh Public Utilities Department, and the 25-foot buffer shall be reestablished along the northern property line. The Planning Commission reviewed this request at their September 16th meeting by unanimous vote. They did confirm staff's findings being in conformity with adopted town plans and policies, and further accepted the staff statements regarding partial zoning consistency with the Garner Forward Comprehensive Plan, detailed in Section 5 as their own, and recommended approval of CUDZ 1905 to you on a unanimous vote. We do have motions recommended for you. I will note that again that we can strike that first of the 4 site-specific conditions. Your zoning motion is on page 98 and the site subdivision plan motion on page 100.
Jeff, do we, of course the applicant's here, I guess, do we know what the applicant plans to, or what type businesses might go on those vacant lots, or is that undetermined at this time?
That would be a better question for them. They have narrowed it down to that list of uses in the zoning document, but I don't know that they have tenants identified for each parcel yet.
We're going to hear from them next. Hey, the applicant, does council have any questions for the applicant? Okay, we'll hear from the audience. Anybody in the audience want to address the council?
Applicant first.
Back again.
Me again, Pam Porter, TMTLA Associates, 5011 South Park Drive in Durham. Thank you for considering our rezoning and our subdivision tonight. Just to touch on the question that was just asked, there are no, as far as I'm aware, there are no tenants for these lots yet. I don't know if Ronnie Thompson has had conversations with anybody, but there's no plans for any specific tenants at this time.
Thanks for answering the question.
You're welcome.
Anyone else? Thank you.
One question.
Sure.
On the site plan, the lots 1 and 2 are to existing businesses. Is that driveway, the existing driveway, that road up there, or is it a little bit different? Looks like it's in the same location.
Some of it's in the same location. So the location that we're showing on the proposed plan is to avoid impacts to the wetlands and to the stream buffer. We obviously have to cross a stream when quiet refuge is extended, but the recycling lane was designed to avoid conflict and also to make sure that Lot 6 could also be possibly a building lot, not just a stormwater lot. So I think it follows the existing gravel drive till maybe about where Lot 1 ends and Lot 2 begins. I know it kind of zigzags and then goes
In the
between the two
similar, in the
stream
similar
buffers.
vicinity is what's there.
Yes, sir, yes. Mhm.
Very good. All right, thank you.
All right, thank you.
Anyone else in the audience? Applicant?
Ready to close the hearing, Mr. Mayor?
All right, I'm gonna close the public hearing, call for motion.